Here's one of these cheaper, nasty Bluetooth speakers. What brand is this thing? BT speaker. That's a pretty generic brand. It's got a sticker on the back. ARK. Model 4730. This one has a punched in USB charge socket. So, nice easy job. Because then we get in there and find all the traces torn off and nearby components missing. At least they're nice and short. Not sitting there winding for half a minute. Plastic construction. Should just lift off, I guess. Oh, yeah. No special sticky foam or anything around that to stop the airflow from the subs. Oh, that's kind of... what horrible design. Well, they've got the couple of 18650s just hot glued in there. And then what is also kind of common on these, a lot of the ones that I've seen, these displays have extremely long legs and they just, you know, stuck on the front panel like that, and legs run down loosely to the board. This one is almost touching the one beside it. And then they've got the infrared receiver just hanging up on its the full length of its legs, so just nothing to stop that flopping around and being a portable device. It's open to vibration, not forgetting that it's got a couple of large speakers in there vibrating away as well, so they could have, with all the hot glue they're putting on the batteries, they could have stuck a dollop on this. And there's the USB socket just pulled out of the bottom. Do we reuse it? I'll probably put a new one on there, I think. But it has pulled the pads. So we'll see if they're the pads we need or don't need. Let's get this off. What is that? Oh yeah, that's just sitting there under its own volition. There's no hot glue on the display either. The knobs should come off. Or just pull off, I guess. That one was tighter than the first one. Plastic. Grips harder than steel. Or aluminium. Actually works better if you hold it up and down like that. This one doesn't even have a nut on it. Feels a bit tight all the way. Hope they haven't cross-threaded it. I've had one before where you got the nut off and then it would never go back on again. So if we go unplug all of this, where's the batteries? Oh, okay, so there's two battery connectors. Oh, and the whole connector is going to come off with the plug. Let's just hang on to the red half. They're not glued on. Well, I mean, it wouldn't matter if that just pulled the whole thing off. Just means you've got to get it back on the right way around, though. We'll just shove that back on there anyway. These ones will come off a bit easier. There's our, must be FM antenna. So what have we got there? Tweeter left and right, sub left and right. Oh no, it'd be lights. Oh, it could be tweeter. Could be tweeter. What if we'll just put a little colouring to say that one goes on that side and that coloured one goes on that side. Geez, they're really latched in there. Wants to pull that off as well. Ta-da! Cheap and nasty, huh? Skimping on the solder there. Ah, there's enough on that side. Oh dear. You see what I mean? Just floating about in the breeze. And the infrared sensor. There's where our port should go. The missing pads, as always, are the data pads which are not needed. So let's right over the headphone jack, or could be microphone in, probably microphone in, karaoke and all. Let's see about, well, I could probably reattach one from this side. I may not need to remove the microphone jack. We'll see what we can do. Squeeze in there. Let me find a vise. And which kind of port are we looking at? Obviously pins that go through the board, I think. So we have, they're folded down on the inside, and just little pads on the back as well. And as luck would have it, it's always the last one I pull out of the box. We're missing the bit of the pad in the middle there as well, so there's a little bit left on the board just to give it a bit more rigidity, but it's also torn a bit of a hole open on there. Let's grab a teeny bit of wick. Might avoid using hot air for this one because of the port in the way there. I'll tack that down on there. Couldn't be any easier. Couldn't be any easier. Awkwardly come in from the top. Watch that flow under there. Come on. Come on. Wet the port. That looks good. That looks alright. We could always put a bit of upper pressure just to make sure it's sitting perfectly down. Oh, no. And I'd just be totally clumsy about it. Why not? There we go. Okay. Just like a brand new one. Funny that. Oh, I didn't really think about the pad underneath. Well, what are you going to do? We need to solder those legs in the holes. If we're not using hot air, we won't get the one underneath. So, meh. Is what it is. Let's dribble some down from the top. Perhaps we've got to be careful not to get it inside the port. Usually can happen. I wonder if I come in from that way. Think it's bubbled enough? Let's have a look. Probably just filled the port up. More heat. Really doesn't look like it's taking to the leg. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. It doesn't look too bad, I suppose. Alright, Other side. We haven't lifted it. No, still sitting flat. That's not really flowing down in the hole at all. Although this was the one that had the hole ripped out, so it's probably got no trace inside to flow down to. I wonder if I can get it from this side. That's going to be awkward. Might be taking. Something's happening. How bad is it? It's not really coming through the port either. Be good if it would have a big blob to bond on that side. Oh well, let's just get in there and see what happens when we add more. I'll use the tip of the solder iron to feel for the hole in the board once it gets liquid. And then I can try and guide it. That was probably way too much. Oh shoot. You mean the whole port got hot enough to lift? Well, that's crappy. Shows how amazing this little solder iron is though. If you can heat a port to the point where all of the solder holding it is wet just from one little spot. Wow. Well, I'm gonna have to... no, I filled the port up. Dag nabbit. Oh well, we can fix that. Get it hot and get some wick down in there. I took care of that pretty quick. Okay, well, let's clean that up. I don't think I'm going to get enough solder down to anchor this side much. So, here's what it is. I'll just have to be careful with it, as if that's going to happen. Who's careful with anything? Maybe having got the port hot though, it's bonded underneath that edge, that front edge, so maybe it's not so bad. It's kind of got some around the side of it there. I better get it back on its panel, I guess. Now with all that mucking around, we've probably moved this. So generally if you just sort of stretch it toward the front so that when the panel goes on it's sitting hard against it, so just grab it and pull it forward a bit. The infrared sensor, something similar. I think I lifted that up, but it doesn't have to be very accurate. So if we shove that in there, you'd kind of want that display sitting pretty hard against the front, although you can see it. It wouldn't matter if it was a little bit back, but it could do to come forward a bit more. So we'll just grab that and just stretch it forward on its legs. And then when you put the front on, if it pushes it back slightly, then you know it's all the way in. So that's pretty good. See if this one was cross-threaded or if it'll go back on happily. Seems like it's going on alright. Yeah, we'll give it a... They don't need to be super tight, we'll just tweak it up. I'll get everything plugged back in. Do the battery last, of course. It's probably flat, but you don't want stuff happening accidentally. The batteries are pretty much left and right. I'll just chuck a screw in to hold it down while we test it. So does it turn on, or are they completely flat? I'm going to say completely flat. Oh, there's a switch in here. There we go. Not on. Let's plug a charger and see if we get lights or something. We have a red charging light come up there, and it's drawing 800 milliamps, so we're off to a good start. We'll let that charge for a few minutes and we'll give it a test, I guess. That's so dodgy not having a nut holding that pot. I think I better support it from the back side while I'm pushing this knob on, because of how tight it was. It feels like it's going to push it off the board. And some time later, take that off, see if the batteries will support life. Hey! Well, that looks like it's working. I am not paired with it. Can we do radio? How do we change source? Pause. Don't want to pause. What's that? There we go, there's radio. Done. Thanks for wasting some time with me. We'll catch you on the next one.